Hello, this is H.E. Bailey, and I'd like to announce the version of Dragon Quest VII that I'll be using for the upcoming LP. The PS1 version, also known as Dragon Warrior 7, or the 3DS version, Fragments of the Forgotten Past. And I will be using the 3DS version, Dragon Quest VII, Fragments of the Forgotten Past. The PS1 version is really good, especially with the dialogue and the party chat. It is so much more unhinged than the 3DS version, but the 3DS version is definitely a much smoother experience. It requires immensely less grinding and is much more accessible to those who would like to play along with me. So I want to go with that one. I will be making references to the PS1 version in the LP, but I'd rather not record clips like I did with Dragon Quest IV or Lunar 1 with multiple versions of the game, because this is such a long game. I mean, well over 100 hours. It would take way too much time for me to play both versions at once for recording a daily episode. So my default plan is to only do the 3DS version there. That said, if you guys are interested in the PS1 version, I could be convinced to do something else with it. I feel that it's different enough that I'd want to do it as like a separate project, if at all, because it's kind of like the 3DS version of Final Fantasy IV compared to the 2D versions. I mean, yeah, it's the same general idea. Most of the dungeons have identical layouts, but it requires a completely different approach to the game due to the changes in the mechanics, the accessibility of equipment, and so on. I would love to LP the PS1 version, but I think I'd rather focus on different projects instead there. Now, due to the sheer length of the game, even in the 3DS version, I'll probably be talking to a much more limited number of NPCs, kind of like how I handled Final Fantasy XII. I mean, I'll talk to the important NPCs and those that I find amusing, but in general, I would skip the ones that don't have anything interesting to say. At this time, I'm doing my research and preparing my notes for the LP. And when I've got that ready, I'm going to live stream one more test run of the 3DS version. I would just skip talking to optional NPCs altogether for the test run. Just blast through any dialogue, since I just want to test my setups, my approach, and the order of events. Now, I do have a few questions about how to approach the LP, so I want to show you a few things from my endgame file, though I'm not going to spoil the plot at all, just names of characters and places, that's all. Okay, let's get in there then. So, one of the things that they have in this version of the game is the info menu with the story so far events. So my first question is, do you know of a complete list of these events? I've heard that some of these are missable, and if I could show how to collect them all, that would be nice. Otherwise, there's really no tangible value to them, so I would just ignore it and just go through the plot as normal. There doesn't really seem to be anything special about them, just a couple people mentioned it to me and I was like, oh, yeah, I didn't really think about that. So, I don't know of a source of information on that, but if you know, let me know, viewers. Okay, let's go over to the Haven here. And let's see, I think they got, I forget where it is. There's a casino that they've got here somewhere. No, that's not where it is. It's in one of these houses. I think it's up here. Game? There you go. Okay, yeah, so they got a casino here. And, I mean, there's a few of them spread throughout the game. Let me know what you think, or, well, what do you think about using the casino? I'm kind of split on this because I've gotten completely opposite reactions in separate LPs. It's like in Dragon Quest VI, I recall many who didn't like that I used the casino, particularly in the early game, in order to get through the difficulty with Murda early on. But then, when I played the Golden Sun games, you know, others complained that I didn't use similar methods to acquire more advanced equipment, despite the games being relatively easy. So this is one game where they have all that, and it's basically just a memory game here. Nothing too extraordinary. Okay, I think I saw that one over here. Yeah, there you go. And if you get all of them, you can get some really, really good stuff out of it. Although, at this point in the game, yeah, that most of this stuff isn't really that extraordinary. Okay, I can't afford to make any mistakes here, and I might be screwed, but we'll see. Yeah, I'm screwed. Hey, we got it! Woo! Okay, I think, yeah, we can do this. Okay. Yeah, I had to get very lucky there, because I knew there was one pair of items that I didn't know about. And unfortunately, I got one of the items I didn't know about first, and that could have really screwed me over. But yeah, so in the 3DS version, you get all of these items, not just like one or two in the PS1 version. So it can be pretty abusive to get way more advanced equipment early in the game. Although with this one, there's quite a bit of skill involved with it, although there is quite a bit of luck with it too. There's also like the slot machines and things like that. Let's see, there's one other thing that I want to show you in the Haven here with tablets, or I just call them tablet dungeons. And let's see, let's go all the way down here. Okay, so over here we have a plinth where we can put certain tablets on there in order to access a dungeon. And there's no plot involved or anything like that, but what do you think about using these in the LP? They're nothing fancy. I mean, essentially just grind maps, really. There's some treasures that you can find around here. But yeah, nothing extraordinary for us to find around here. And each one usually has only one type of enemy in there, or maybe two, but I think like at least one of them has a whole bunch of different enemies. But in general, if you're going to use them, you're going through a little dungeon here, collect some unimportant treasures, and that's about it. There aren't a ton of these around throughout the game. You usually get like one or two of them at a time, so it would be spread out over the course of the game there. But essentially, there's not, well, yeah, like I said, there's not a lot of them. But I mean, it's essentially grinding. They wouldn't be very useful, or I mean, they would be useful in knocking out some of the weaker job classes. so I wouldn't have to use them while progressing with the plot. Like Mage has really low HP and defense, and if I'm fighting a tough boss, that would make them more of a liability there. So I could use them here to get them out of the way, so I could use actually good job classes while I'm progressing with the plot. But yeah, you could just leave at any time you want. There is a boss at the end, which is just basically a same version of the same enemies you've been fighting with more stats that would take longer to kill there. And you can switch out tablets for whatever ones you want. So let's see, we've got... Let's see, looks like 15 of them total. I think that's all of them that you could potentially use throughout the game. And I did use it for some amount of grinding in my first playthrough, but hopefully I can streamline it better so I wouldn't really need to do that. So let me know what you think about the ideas I've had. I'm just going to do one more test run of the 3DS version, and then I'll start the LP. Thanks for your support on Patreon or Twitch viewers. This is H.C. Bailey, signing off. Have a good day!